In today's video, I'm going to review budgeting and expenses in the Boldin Planner and answer some very specific questions users frequently ask. Am I double counting expenses? Should I use basic or detailed budgeter or the new estimated expenses in beta? What expenses does Boldin include automatically? How do I model healthcare premiums correctly? How do I model charitable giving properly to help reduce my adjusted gross income? Knowing how to model expenses properly in Boldin is critical because budget accuracy drives the entire plan. This video can help you refine your Boldin retirement plan so it's more realistic and more accurate by avoiding the common double counting mistakes that lead to artificially low chance of success scores. Welcome back to Reflections in Real Talk. I'm Judy. Let's start with the foundation of success. Most people think their retirement success depends on the stock market, but another big factor is spending. This is the biggest lever you can control. If your budget is inaccurate, your entire plan, including your Social Security timing and Roth conversion strategy, can be wrong. Today, we're going to build a clean budget in Boldin by identifying exactly what the software handles for you and what you need to enter manually, and most importantly, ensure nothing is under or over counted. First, let's talk briefly about the science behind spending. This is one framework you can use to mimic how people spend money in stages versus a flat line across retirement. I often see one lump sum from current date to lifetime modeled in Boldin, but this is usually not how people spend money over their lifetime. This feature, estimated spending, is still in beta, so if you're interested in modeling this, go into account settings and toggle on beta and opt in for early access to try out new features. Now here we are at the main menu. I'm going directly to expenses and healthcare, and I'm clicking on reoccurring expenses. Since I've already started building it out, you can see the life stages here. We've got pre-retirement today, modeled at $20,672, early retirement go-go years, a little more than pre-retirement, $23,733, and so forth. Mid-retirement, we slow down a little bit and go back to slightly less than early retirement, and later retirement no-go years, much less than mid-retirement. And if you want to see how this tool works under the hood, click on that edit button and you'll see here that you can automatically estimate the monthly spending. You can manually enter it yourself, and then you can pull from this drop-down menu. So for example, if I wanted $15,000, now my option for early retirement is much more than pre-retirement, a little more than pre-retirement, same as pre-retirement, a little less than pre-retirement, or much less than pre-retirement, and so forth. So that's one of the ways that you can model your expenditures in Boldin. And regardless of what budgeting tool you're using in Boldin, you can still model these same phases. And remember, all of these are reoccurring expenses, and that means that the healthcare is modeled separately. So make sure you don't double count those. All right, let's look at reoccurring expenses and the basic budgeting tool. In this instance, we have the recurring expense prior to 2026 to 2030, and we have one lump sum for $8,000 a month. If you have a separate budgeting app, that's fine. You can capture all of your budget expenses as one line item. Now, in this example, we have modeled the first phase of early retirement. So this would be working years, and this would be early retirement. I also want to call out, make sure you're very detailed when you capture this information, because we have this terminating at January 2030, and now the next phase starts the following month. I have very frequently seen these months overlap, so make sure you capture that correctly. The next phase of retirement might be mid-retirement starting in February of 2041, and so forth. So just add another line item here, and that's how to capture it in the basic budgeter tool. In the detailed budgeter, which, as you may know, is my favorite tool, I love to get very granular here, you can click that edit pencil and you can capture the same phases as well. One of the most common things I see is that folks are entering the start and end is a lifetime for every single item. Now that's fine, but that doesn't necessarily follow your life plan. And if it doesn't, you can break things out separately. So for example, for some of these basic expenses, of course, mortgage is already captured it, so don't enter that twice. Make sure you do break out property taxes and insurance. I've put that in a separate section. And things like roof replacement, water heater, and so forth can be a one-time expense. This is starting and stopping at the very same month, and therefore it's a one-time expense. But for those phased expenses, let's say during retirement you would prefer to go out to dinner more frequently, instead of calling out restaurants must spend, like to spend from now till lifetime, let's change that to 2035. Now we can enter another expense for dining out, and we'll say dining out, retirement, monthly, and must spend 600, like to spend, let's say we're not going to cook at all. Let's just have fun. And again, make note of that date here because we had January 2035. So you can just type in 2035, but make sure you click down to that February date. And then let's say 2045. All right. And that's how you can create those separate phases. And you can do that line by line for many of those discretionary items or things that might be different depending on your phase and your age. And why does this matter for accuracy? If you model 100% of all of your expenses for 30 years as a straight line, you're likely oversaving and working longer than you need. Next, let's talk about how to avoid the double counting trap. Here's a rule of thumb. Boldin pulls data from specific sections of the planner to build your estimated expenses chart. Do not add these items to your monthly reoccurring budget or you will count them twice. Here's what Boldin automatically includes. Number one is housing. If you entered a mortgage or rent in home and real estate, Boldin already has it in your budget. Only include utilities or maintenance in your budget, and only include principal and interest for your home payment in order for Boldin to calculate your mortgage payoff properly. If you have private mortgage insurance, do not include it here. Do not include insurance and taxes in your housing expense. Add it as a separate line item. Number two, healthcare premiums. Before age 65, enter your actual premium and out-of-pocket costs. And if you're married, don't forget to separate yourself from your spouse for medical expenses. Because of those differences in ages, modeling your costs separately will give you the most accurate projection for medical expenses. And if you're already 65 and claiming Medicare, you can enter actual costs. If you're still in the planning stages for Medicare age 65 plus, select the type of Medicare coverage. Boldin will automatically estimate and include those premiums for you. Boldin estimates Medicare Part B, D, and Medigap premiums automatically based on your age 65 plus and health status. Do not add these to your reoccurring list. You can use the itemized Medicare expenses to break down individual costs. To model removing Medicare and IRMAA computations from your plan, choose Employer Sponsored. It will remove all but the last year's expenses you have indicated for longevity. Number 5 is taxes. Boldin's engine calculates federal and state income tax, including FICA when you're working, based on your income and withdrawals. Entering taxes as an expense is a major error. There is currently no way to calculate additional self-employment tax expenses. There's also no way to model head of household claiming status. To adjust for that, look for the difference between the single filing status and head of household and add that amount as a windfall. That will allow the system to mimic a one-time credit. Number 6 is debts. Any loan entered in the debt section, car loans, credit cards, is automatically added to your cash flow. Do not include credit cards that you pay off in full monthly. This is not necessary and will lead to double counting. Number 7 is long-term care. The software defaults to modeling care for the last 28 months of your life unless you opt out. Currently, it estimates $180,000, but since costs can vary greatly from area to area, please do your own research to estimate the cost closer in your particular area. And if you use the option for home equity to fund long-term care, you should also model the future sale of your home or a reverse mortgage. Now here's what you must add manually, the everyday list. Those are things like groceries, restaurants and entertainment, travel and personal care. And here's some sneaky costs. Again, as previously mentioned, but it's worth mentioning twice, property taxes and homeowners insurance and other out-of-pocket medical costs like dental or vision. And expenses are not only for mandatory or optional personal spending. For those that are charitably inclined, it's important to touch on the various ways to enter charitable giving in Boldin. You must generally itemize deductions rather than take the standard deduction. You can account for cash contributions in the planner using the detailed budgeter. The planner will compare your standard deduction and your deductible contributions on an annual basis and apply the one that's most beneficial to you. When entering a deductible expense, you can select how much of it is actually deductible. You can choose 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100%. Or you can use the one-time expense as well. When you enter the source account, the tax deduction toggle opens up. This is also helpful for documenting qualified charitable deductions or QCDs, which are specifically entered after you reach the age of 70 and a half and will reduce your required RMDs or required minimum distributions, but they must be entered in January to capture the full year. You can record them one time or annually. And you may be interested in using the Donor Advised Fund or DAF for charitable contributions. If you're interested in learning more about how to model this in Boldin, I'll drop a link in the description below to the corresponding help article. And here's some technical pro tips for the detailed budgeter. Must spend, keep the lights on mode, or rice and beans budget versus like to spend or living lavishly, living the dream. A very common mistake is assuming that the like to spend category is additive to the must spend category. And the logic trap is that these are two separate budgets, not layers. So the error is a user might enter $5,000 for must spend and essentials and $2,000 for like to spend for travel, thinking the total is $7,000 combined. So if your total ideal lifestyle costs $7,000, you must enter the full $7,000 in the like to spend. If like to spend is lower, the software's projections will be inaccurate when the toggle views. One-time expense inflation. Reoccurring expenses are automatically adjusted for inflation by the rate you have selected in Boldin. However, one-time expenses like a roof in 2038 are not automatically inflated. You must enter that amount in future dollars or what the roof will actually cost in 2038. You can use Boldin's AI tool to estimate that for you and enter the one-time expenses here using the same date in the detailed or basic budgeter. The 0% default for excess income. One of the most frequent oversights is letting excess income, which is money left over after expenses are paid, sit in a non-productive 0% interest rate bearing account. By default, Boldin sends all surplus cash to a default account that earns 0% interest. The fix is going to money flows, excess income, and redirecting those funds to an interest-bearing account. This ensures your money will continue to grow over time. Hard coding ages versus using the retirement date switch. When setting up expenses, users often manually enter their current age or specific retirement age, such as starts at 65. The better Boldin way, Boldin has a retirement date master switch. Enter the retirement date rather than a hard-coded age. If you decide to work 2 years longer, every expense linked to that retirement date switch will automatically shift without you having to update dozens of individual line items. Stress testing for reality, the success score. If you fix your double counting, watch your chance of success score. Many users see a jump from 67 to 77% just by cleaning up these duplicates. And remember, the goal is not for 100% for chance of success. 80% is the gold standard. And what that means is that in 20% of the time, you may need to adjust your spending under certain circumstances. And 80% chance of success means that in 800 out of 1,000 simulated market scenarios, your plan successfully funded all of your goals throughout your longevity age. In the other 200 scenarios, you would have needed to make adjustments like spending less or working a bit longer to avoid running out of money. But is it the gold standard? In the planning world, 80% is often considered the sweet spot, but there isn't one universal gold standard, and here's why. The 80% logic, it represents a balanced balance trade-off. You're enjoying your money now while maintaining a high level of confidence. If you aim for 99%, you might be over-saving and missing out on the best years of your health and travel. Here's the thermostat approach. You can view an 80% target as high enough to be secure, but flexible enough to live well. If the market drops and your score falls towards 70%, you simply turn down the heat by spending a little less until things recover. And it really comes down to personal preference. Some users prefer the peace of mind of 95% plus, while others, especially younger individuals that plan to retire early, are comfortable at the 60 to 70% because they have more time to adjust. When you see 99%, does that make you feel like you've won the game? Or does it make you wonder if you're being a bit too conservative with your lifestyle today? One way to view how much money you're potentially leaving on the table that you could spend is to use the max spending button. Here, when we click it, you can see the dark purple bars representing an annual amount you could spend in addition to what budget you have modeled, using the assumptions you have selected in the planner. The Guardrails tool. Use the Spending Guardrails to find your safe spending target. If this target is higher than your planned spend, you have a green light to enjoy your retirement. While the Spending Guardrails tool is a powerful way to manage your retirement budget, there are a few key limitations to keep in mind. The tool currently runs exclusively on your average forecast assumptions. It does not reflect the optimistic or pessimistic toggles you might use elsewhere in the planner. Now let's talk about pre-retiree actionability. If you aren't retired yet, the tool provides a safe spending target based on your projected balance at retirement. Those only become actionable once you are actually in retirement. Lifetime averaging. The tool takes lumpy or one-time expenses like buying a car in 5 years and averages them over the entire retirement. This means your monthly safe spend might look higher or lower than your actual cash flow in a specific year. If your plan currently shows a 99% chance of success, your safe spending target is likely much higher than what you are currently planning to spend. So to sum it all up, keep it living. The expense audit. Don't just set it and forget it. Revisit your budget quarterly to ensure it's still congruent with your actual lifestyle. For most people, a comprehensive budget review once or twice a year is the sweet spot. Reviewing too often, like every week, can lead to risk whiplash where you overreact to normal market swings. Here's the best cadence for staying on track without the stress. The annual check-in, or once a year. Sit down to update your account balances and see if your actual spending matched what you entered in your plan. This is the best time to check your spending guardrails to see if you can safely increase your lifestyle or if you should tighten the belt. Major life events. Review your budget immediately if you have a big change like a job change, a home sale, or a new grandchild. Market milestones. If the market has a significant year, up or down 20%, it's worth taking a peek at your chance of success on the dashboard to see how your safety margin has shifted. The goal is to treat your plan like a thermostat, not a thermometer. You only need to adjust the temperature when you move outside your comfort zone. When you look at your itemized expenses in expenses and healthcare, does that list feel like a realistic reflection of your life today, or is it due for a spring cleaning? And here's my reflection for today's video. Accuracy isn't about restriction, it's about the confidence to spend what you've worked so hard to save. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to Reflections and Real Talk. That helps to support this channel's growth and reach more people who want clarity with their retirement planning. And if you're thinking about modeling your own expense management and retirement timing, withdrawal strategies, taxes, and whether your plan actually works long-term, take a look at Boldin. Boldin gives you the tools to model your retirement decisions clearly and realistically. I'll include my affiliate link below so you can explore it on your own. And again, using my affiliate link helps to support this channel so I can continue to make videos like this. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you in the next video.